Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. All right, this clip is wild. We are watching a clip of First Things First with Nick Wright, and he is genuinely angry. Him and Brou, like, he really genuinely screams at Chris Broussard. I usually watch these clips in real time, like I don't know what ending's gonna happen prior, and so I recorded for the day. And then I just had this, this clip kind of popped up, and I was, getting ready to actually go out. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll throw this on in the background. And I hear them just going at it. And I was just like, all right, I absolutely have to go back and, make a video of this. So I'm just going to let the whole clip play. I believe I don't know if I'll stop in the middle and talk, because at this point, I forget, honestly, what they were. I mean, I know what they were talking about, but what, if there was any key points to kind of break down in the middle of it. But it gets heated, genuinely heated. And it's authentic. Like you can see it. Like it's Nick. What I'm realizing is Nick does not like to be challenged. He does not like to be challenged. And let's just take a listen and watch and see. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Against the Tigers.
Come on, guys. We gotta be better.
Check in on Jacksonville, where despite one flag football coach saying there's a brewing quarterback controversy, actual coach Doug Peterson says that the Jags are working tirelessly on getting an extension done for the Prince. Here's the $200 million QB club. Mahomes, Brou, Herbert, Lamar, Allen, Hurts, Kyler, Deshaun.
I do want to pause real fast, because someone in the comments said something about, you know what, never mind. We're just going to let this play.
And new member, Jared Goff. So we'll start with you, Nick. Would it be a mistake to give Trevor a huge payday?
No, but first, just because we must be fair to the audience, 6 weeks ago when I told the audience we would apologize for the "Is there a quarterback controversy" segment.
That was not a joke.
That was in jest.
That was not in Brou. Back me up. That was
Sorry,
not.
Is the season over?
Have we gone the whole season without a quarterback controversy? Wait till that three interception half.
If
you remember, it was all okay. That's fine. We can wait on it. I figured.
Mac Jones, number one wide receiver, retired today.
Okay. Yeah.
Belichick had Devontae Parker's number. Sorry.
Okay.
Continue.
Okay. So listen. No, it would not be a mistake. Would it be a risk? Yeah. It's a risk. It's been a risk. In my opinion, every quarterback that's gotten this deal post Mahomes has been a risk.
Burrow?
Yeah.
Wow. Because of
the
Josh Allen?
Yeah. I think that was a risk. Because when Josh got his deal, he had only had one great year. He didn't have the equity, and it was a great year. It was no doubt about it, but it was just one great year. Mahomes was the only one that you knew with total certainty that this deal will age great in our favor, and it was a 10-year deal. So of course there's a risk, but it would be a wild mistake not to give him the deal. And there is one aspect of Trevor that never gets discussed, which is
the interception
at the snow. That gets discussed a lot, I think, by folks that don't watch the Jags that much. It is
guilty as
that he is. I'm just telling you. I don't think you watch the Jags. I don't think people that watch the Jags come away thinking Trevor Lawrence is the problem.
Not
that
the
Trevor
problem.
Lawrence. Well, hold on. Last year you called him the weak link, Brou. Repeatedly.
No,
repeatedly.
I don't think I used that term.
No, you used the weak link.
Did I use weak link?
You 100%.
You were 100% repeatedly called him the weak link.
And then sometimes you call him the
wink leak.
The wink.
But you definitely did.
You did.
And so
they were 8-3 and missed the playoffs.
Yes, because he got hurt.
Everybody got hurt.
He played through it. I don't want to hear that he got hurt.
Well, he didn't play through all of it.
He missed one game.
And they missed the playoffs by one game.
Even if they had made it, it wasn't going to be a great year. They were going to get bounced quickly.
But he was in the midst of the best football of his career, which had gone on for a year and a half. They won a playoff game. They then were playing for the 1 seed. He got hurt. That is what happened. Like, we can argue about the rest of it. That happened. And the factor that I was going to mention when you said the interceptions is not that. It's that at the start of the year, he's 24. 24. He's the same age at the start of the year as Bo Nix and Michael Penix. He is 3 years younger than Kyler, Daniel Jones, who were considered young quarterbacks. He's younger than Jordan Love. He's 1 year older than CJ. So he's the same age as some rookies coming in, and he's already has a good body of work.
We were supposed to look. I agree with if you know a guy is your franchise quarterback, it is smart to sign him earlier because next year the price is only going up. If I was the owner of that team, though, I would not be fully comfortable giving him this huge contract. I just want to see one more year because he hasn't done enough for me to know this dude is great. And you're right, it's a risk with everybody. But I don't think, like Justin Herbert, I think has done enough to show us.
Had he at the time?
Yeah, I think yes, he was great from day one. I mean, so I just think that if I'm the owner of that team, I'm sitting back, and he's only played 3 years. I got 2 more years on the contract. I got the franchise tags available. Why am I in a rush? I would sit back, see what he does this year, and if he plays well, it will cost me more money, but I will feel better. If he has a great year, I'll feel a lot better in shelling out $200-some-odd million than doing it now. There's no rush. I don't have to do it around. Greg, look at these numbers. These are his numbers from last year. Those are mediocre, a little better than mediocre numbers. The passer rating is 19th in the league. TD to interception ratio is not great. Like, why do I have to be in a rush to sign this guy? Because, Nick, a lot of the guys, Carson Wentz, Kyler Murray, that got that deal, and there's a few more after the 3 years, Jared Goff, the teams felt like they regretted it. So I would just wait one more year, and if he's great, I'll pay more.
No, sign him. Oh. Like, he's changed the expectations of us and with that pertaining to that organization, of their fan base, of the organization. Like, I don't want to get into the details of it. It's clearly he is the best quarterback that they've had in the last 20 years. Yeah. Like, when you look at what he's been able to provide in these 3 years, they made the postseason. But the Detroit Lions can say the same thing. That's why they paid Jared Goff, because he did something for that organization that no one had been able to do. So for me, when you have a guy like that,
he's done one more game, one more playoff game.
When you have a guy like that,
he got them to the conference championship,
and he got them to round 2, and they lost to the Chiefs.
So Patrick
and he
Mahomes
was bad. He came back, but he was horrible in the first half.
This is why
he has not been great. He has been great. Trevor Lawrence has been great.
I do not think Goff has been demonstrably better with the Lions.
But has he been better?
Yeah, by a game. I just said it.
No, it's not about, you're not about QB wins. Goff has been better than Trevor Lawrence.
Well, hold on. For
Lions.
what?
No, I'm just saying, you can't give me he went one game further when you're not about quarterback wins. But let's look at
what I am saying is they both have had one excellent season with their team. Goff, 2 years ago, we threw him a parade because they almost made the playoffs. Because they finished 2 years ago. Right, it was in the reverse order. Because 2 years ago, the Lions had the same season the Jags had this year. And last year, the Jags
But they built on it. Jacksonville went backwards.
Because their quarterback got hurt.
But he only missed one game.
Okay.
And they only missed about one.
I mean, if that's what...
Yeah, so Nick is not happy because Brou is pushing back. He's pushing back on this narrative. Now, first off, I think they're both right and both wrong, quite honestly. Because the Detroit Lions paid Jared Goff not just for what he did in Detroit, but for what he showed as well in Los Angeles with the Rams. So they didn't just pay him for what he did. So to say, well, hey, Trevor Lawrence only did a little bit worse than Goff in Detroit. But Goff has more of a resume than just what he did in Detroit. He went to a Super Bowl. And I don't care if he wasn't the big master leader throwing for 10,000 yards a game with the Rams. I don't care about that. He showed that he's more than capable and that he wasn't a liability, especially, which is important, quite honestly, because we know a lot of quarterbacks end up being liabilities to their teams. So this whole idea that we should only compare Goff in Detroit versus Trevor in Jacksonville, that makes no sense to me. None. I don't even get the argument or why it's even brought up. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. Should we compare what Stafford did only with LA and not Detroit, or vice versa? Should we only say what he did in Detroit and not what he did in LA? It doesn't make any sense. So that's that. Now, the truth is that Goff has shown significantly higher highs than Trevor Lawrence. That's indisputable. It's indisputable. I mean, just the one, and it was a regular season game against the Chiefs and Mahomes. where the score was like 100-90. I mean, it was an outrageous shootout. And again, Goff went to a Super Bowl, and then he led the Detroit Lions to the NFC Championship game. And quite frankly, he won that game. He wasn't the reason why they lost. He nearly led another team to a Super Bowl, 2 different teams to a Super Bowl. That matters. That matters. Compare that to what Trevor Lawrence did. The guy threw 47 interceptions in one game. That's hard to forget. And listen, I give him the grace. A lot of these young quarterbacks struggle in their first playoffs games, right? Jalen Hurts didn't play so well in his first playoff game against the Buccaneers, and then the next season he played one of the greatest Super Bowl. Had one of the best performances in the Super Bowl of all time. Statistically, the second best performance in Super Bowl history. So I'm okay for giving the grace, and that's why I'm actually on both sides here. I think Trevor Lawrence is actually a good quarterback. I really do. I think it's all there for him. But first off, we can give injuries as a reason for lack of success or production. It's okay to say that. Not all reasons are excuses. Yes, he continued to play. He was clearly not healthy. And then at this point, also his weapons. He had no one to throw to. Let's not act like the Jacksonville Jaguars are this great team, and then Trevor Lawrence is indeed the weak link. Because if that's the case, then sure, then all of those arguments make sense, but that's not the case. I just don't know what you expect. Do you think Trevor Lawrence would struggle with the Dallas Cowboys? Would he struggle with the Eagles roster, especially back in 22? Would he struggle with the Chiefs? Would he struggle with the 49ers? No. Would he struggle with the Rams? No. He doesn't have Puka Nacua or Cooper Kupp to throw to. He doesn't have CeeDee Lamb, at least healthy and throughout the whole season. He doesn't have A.J. Brown, Devontae. He doesn't have Travis Kelce. So let's be real here. Has Trevor Lawrence not reached the expectations that a lot of people had for him? Yes. And some of that is on Trevor Lawrence. No question. And some of that is on just the circumstances of luck, whether it be injuries to himself or injuries to other players, as well as poor management. Hiring, I can't think of his name right now, his first head coach, which was a disaster, from college, from Ohio. Name completely slipping my mind right now. As per usual, names always slip my mind. I need someone in my ear to tell me the names like these all guys have. And that's, that was difficult. That's not an easy start to a season, to a career, I mean. So I do think Trevor Lawrence is getting a little bit too much hate. I don't know if you have to pay him right now. That's where you would have to really kind of dig into the details and say, okay, we believe he's going to be a pretty good quarterback, good enough where he's going to get paid, and good enough where we're not going to move on from him. We want to see another 3, 4, 5 years with him because what are we going to do? Just cut him loose and then draft again? We're not going to do that. So the argument then is pay him now, and then it does end up being cheaper down the road. But if you kick it down the road, you do now have the chance to figure out if you actually truly think he is legit or not, but then you do have to pay him more. I'm of the camp where I saw enough where I'm like, let's pay him. We should be able to get him for a cheaper deal than this Jared Goff, right? These massive contracts, 55, 60 million, because he hasn't had that success yet. So we should be able to get him for a somewhat cheaper deal if you sign right now, which now it's kind of double duty. And then again, it's like, listen, we need to build a better team. We need more weapons. We need a better offensive line to keep you upright. Like, we need these things. Again, I think it all depends on what is Trevor Lawrence asking for. If Trevor Lawrence is like, I want to be the highest paid quarterback, you guys know how great I am. You saw how good I was until I got injured. I'm legit. Give me all this money. If he's doing that, then I could see the argument, well, you know what? We're going to wait. Let's just wait a second because you're talking a big game and let's just wait. But if he's not, if he's actually willing to work with the Jags and he wants that security and he wants that contract and he's willing to say, and again, I'm making up numbers here, $50 million a year, whatever it may be, then I would do that. I really would. I would be more inclined to say, I will give you, again, making up numbers here, $45, $50 million a year for 4 years, all guaranteed, because I'm looking at this on a longer timeline of saying, I want to figure out, are you good? And I want to give us a few years. I want to give us a run way where we can deal with some injuries, some problematic seasons. We're going to get weapons. We're going to draft. We're going to do all these things. We're going to build a legit team around you. And we're giving us this window, because I hate this idea that we only evaluate a quarterback in like 2 seasons, 1 season, 3 seasons. That's not the way it works. It's just not. And Nick was right where he's like, look, he's young enough where there's rookie quarterbacks who are being drafted now who are of his age. So, and that matters. So all of this matters. So I just would not sell my stock on Trevor Lawrence. I'm not saying that he's a bona fide top 3 quarterback either, but I do think it's a little quick just to act like he's some scrub and a complete failure and a bust and this, that. Let's not pretend like the Jaguars are this great team, okay? Let's just not. They've been a disaster of a franchise for years, for decades, for their entire existence. Patrick Mahomes got drafted to a team that made the playoffs the season before, like that, or the year before when he, the year that he sat out. Like, that matters. He got drafted to a team that has Hall of Fame Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, like Tyreek Hill. Not everyone gets drafted into these great situations. Jalen Hurts got to play with a stacked roster. So did Dak Prescott. You kidding me? You know what a luxury it is to be drafted and to have someone like Ezekiel Elliott, where all you do is have to hand it off, and that guy was just an absolute monster with a great offensive line. Those are all great luxuries to have. You don't think it's a luxury that Brock Purdy gets to play with Ayuk, Shanahan as your head coach, Debo, Christian McCaffrey, the tight end also slipped my mind right now. I can never think of anyone's name. Like, all of those things matter. And he's had none of those, effectively. He really hasn't. So I just don't think it's completely fair to just put this all on Trevor Lawrence. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love Kittle. This is his name, tight end. I know his name. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think Trevor Lawrence should get a big contract now? Do you think they should wait another year to see, and even considering down the road like franchise tagging him? Do you think he's worthy of the criticism or worthy of the praise? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.